Hey y'all, it's Realtor Pamela Lewis. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. Today's topic is going to be the pros and cons of living in the 757. Just wait for it. So today's topic is the pros and cons of living in the 757. So, I was born in New York, but I was raised in the Hampton Roads area. So, specifically in the Virginia Beach area. Then I went away to VCU in Richmond, which is about an hour and a half away from Virginia Beach. Then after VCU, went to Hackensack, New Jersey, lived there for 4 years. Came on back down to Virginia Beach to sell real estate. Got married a few years later and started to live in Portsmouth, Virginia. We have a real estate firm that's been open for over 16 years, and that's in Newport, Virginia. So I travel all over the Hampton Roads. You may think I'm a little crazy for doing that, but hey, I love checking out all the cities. So, enough about me. Let's get into the topic. So our area, the 757, or if you haven't been here in a while, you probably remember the area being called Tidewater, or also the Hampton Roads area. That's comprised of 7 cities. 5 of the cities are actually on one side of the water, is what we call it here. But one side of the water is on the other side of our 2 tunnels and 1 bridge that can move you back and forth through the cities. So on the one side, we call it the south side. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, and Suffolk. That's on one side of the water. Then on the other side of the water, you got Hampton and Newport News. So I broke the pros and cons into 5 different pros and cons of living in the 757. Number 1, which is one of my favorites. There's access points to all the waterways in every city. Whether it's a lake, a bay, or the beach, every city, all 7 cities, you can access the water. That's one of my favorite parts of living in the Hampton Roads. Number 2, we have several colleges and universities in our area and throughout each city, and we have 2 HBCUs, which is really cool because one is on one side of the water and another one is on the other side of the water. Number 3, every city has an awesome park. I know I love that because I'm being a mom of 4. I'm able to take my kids to any city if I'm doing any showings and they're with me and we need to make a stop to get some of that energy out. We can stop at one of the parks. So that's one of the cool features of living in the 757. Number 4, we have some great restaurants here in the Hampton Roads. And specifically, there are vegan restaurants that are popping up in each of the cities. So that's actually makes my heart melt, me being a vegan in the Hampton Roads. Number 5, and I know some of you guys who are from the Hampton Roads are going to debate me on this, but you can debate me till you're blue in the face. There's always something to do. Now, some of you guys who are from here may be thinking, there's not anything to do here. Yes, there is. There's always something to do. Whether you are single, whether you have a family, whether you are a senior, there's always something to do in the Hampton Roads. You just have to know where to find out the information. So, if you live in the area or you're coming into the area, let me know. I'll point you into the right direction. Just tell me what you like to do. Okay, let's get into the cons. Okay, so the number 1 con of living in the 757 in the Hampton Roads is the traffic. Oh my gosh, if you have to travel during the peak hours, whether it's in the morning or evening, you may not like traveling around here in the Hampton Roads. And the reason for that is we have several military installations. We are a military community. We also have a port. I think we actually have, we have one major port in Norfolk that moves a lot of cargo. So we have a lot of big trucks that are on the highway. If you remember, one of my pros is that there are quite a few universities and colleges. Well, that also causes traffic. And then when I said we have great views of the water, what does that cause? Traffic. Because there's some great campgrounds too. That's one of the things I didn't include in the pros, but there are some great campgrounds. And so that brings in a lot of tourists for campgrounds, our waterways. So that can make traveling in the Hampton Roads pretty challenging at sometimes. But let me just give you a tip. If you're sitting in traffic get off the highway. And remember, there's some great restaurants and some great parks. Either get your legs stretched and getting around in the park and some trails that we have, or stop at one of our cool restaurants. Number 2, con, which I don't really do this as much with all these kids and working, but we don't have any major department stores other than Macy's, and I think we're down to one Sears, and we're down to a Nordstrom Rack, but there aren't any major department stores like Nordstrom's or Saks Fifth or Bloomingdale's. So that's one of the cons from living here too, is that the shopping, subpar. So you have to travel out of the area if you're really into shopping. I believe the closest point for you to go shopping would be, well, we have our outlets. We just opened up an outlet. We did open up an IKEA, finally. You can go to Williamsburg for the outlets, and then the major department stores, you can go up to Richmond, which is about an hour and a half from Virginia Beach, and about an hour to 45 minutes from Hampton and Newport, just depending on how fast you drive. Number 3 con, we have no major sports teams. I know. But we do have some minor league teams. We have baseball on both sides of the water. We do have hockey. But there's no major sports teams. So that's one of the drawbacks of living in the Hampton Roads. You got to travel out of the area. Or I guess if you're a Redskins fan, you just travel up to Northern Virginia area. Number 4, there isn't any major transportation systems that can move you from city to city. We do have a bus system that will move you within the city, and it will move you out of the city, but there's no direct, really, connections between the cities. So it takes you a while if you need to go from one city to another if you're on the bus system. So hopefully in the future, we will have some type of major transportation that can move you from city to city, especially on down to the beach. Now, the city of Norfolk does have a light rail system that will move you through a couple of points in the city, so that's pretty cool if you happen to visit the Norfolk area. And also there is a cool boating system that will take you from the city of Norfolk over to my area, which is Portsmouth, which is pretty neat. But there is no major transportation system that will move you from city to city very quickly. So you need a car. So if you move here, make sure you have a car, or somebody at least give you a ride. I guess you can get an Uber or a Lyft. Number five, we are not a major hub for plane or train. So if you're thinking about moving here, well, I can tell you a positive for us not being a major hub for when we fly out or when we travel on a train, is that it's pretty easy to navigate through our Amtrak system. You pretty much just jump on when you have your ticket already paid for. I believe you actually can get on and pay for it too. And in our airport, since we are a major hub, our airport is pretty smooth with navigating through the airport system. So, you know, there's always pros and cons to everything. But if you're trying to get up to New York quickly, or down to Atlanta, or over to California pretty quickly, most likely you will have a layover somewhere. So,
yeah, I recorded it.
He's a quick learner.